Hi, it's Rustic Barn Cards with Terry. Today, I'm going to make a card using a stamp set that will be in the January to June mini catalog of 2021. So it's kind of a sneak peek. I'm using the stamp set Dragonfly Garden. I was able to purchase it early not only as a demonstrator, but because I took part in On Stage, so I was able to purchase this. If you would like to have those perks, you can join my team. You don't have to sell as a business. You can be a discount shopper. So contact me if you have any questions. I'd be glad to answer them. So I'm going to use Dragonfly Garden along with the punch that comes with, that you can purchase with the set. I'll be using an embossing folder called Woodland, which is in the annual catalog. And I'll be using a stitched rectangle for the label. So let me show you the card. The card we're going to make today is this one right here. And I'm going to do this in different colors. So this card, I used Crumb Cake and Macaron, and so I'm going to make our card today using Early Espresso and Coastal Cabana. So let me bring in what we need. So for the cardstock, I will show you that. We just need Early Espresso ink, and I've already placed our images on the blocks that we're going to need, and our sentiment, may good things grow all year long, and of course the little image here that we're going to stamp, which is butterflies. And we will need some blends. So I used Daffodil Soft Suede because we do not have any Early Espresso blends, and Crumb Cake, and I used a black marker. And the last thing, I'm using some embellishments from Flowers for Every Season gems. Okay, let's get started on our card. I do have some of the pieces already ready to go. So here's our Early Espresso card base. Going to lay that aside and bring in our layer of Coastal Cabana that we're going to stamp on. But before I do that, I'm going to bring in a layer of Whisper White, and we're going to add that to the layer of our Early Espresso. I'm going to bring in some snail. I've ordered Stamp and Seal Plus. That seems to work the best for me. But I don't have it. It hasn't come in yet. I think it's today or tomorrow. Okay, now I'll lay that aside. And we'll do our stamping. So we're going to stamp first, and then we'll run it through the embossing folder. I'm going to stamp off. Okay. I'm going to close. I'm not going to close it up yet because we need to add our large image. So I'm going to ink this up. And sometimes when you have such a large image, I find it's a little easier if you take your ink pad to your image. And I'm going to place it right over here on the right. And there we go. Now I will stamp our sentiment. And I'll stamp her dragonfly. I left room here so I could place the stitch rectangle around. I'm going to bring in another scrap of Whisper White and take our dragonfly and ink him up. I'm going to stamp at the bottom of the Whisper White. That way it'd be easier to use the punch. So now I'm going to close ink pad. And I'm going to go ahead. It's easier if I color him in first and then punch him out. So again, as I said, and you can use any colors that you want, but I found just put a little bit of dark of the soft suede. And the dark crumb cake. And then the light crumb cake, I'm going to kind of fill in. And leave a little bit white, and then bring in my Daffodil Delight. And then wait a second, come back with my light crumb cake. Kind of fill in. And this I'll color with a black marker. I already have one already finished. But before I show you, if you have a color lifter, if you would like to, you can bring in your color lifter and you can make it a little bit lighter. Kind of blend some of those together. And then I will bring in the punch so you can see. And line it up. There we go. And you have your dragonfly, as well as a little dragonfly, which I can save for another card. And then what I like to do with my dragonflies is I use my bone folder and I will curl up the edges to make it look a little more realistic as it's taken in flight. Okay, I'll put that aside. And we will bring in our embossing folder. Go back out so you can see. And then I'm going to place this in the folder. So I'm going to line it up like this, and we'll run it through. I'll be right back. Before I do that, I have a cut and emboss machine, and I like this because it's numbered, so I'm going to use 1, and it shows right here using a standard embossing folder, which Woodland is. So I do not need the 2. That's for thin dies. So I need plate 3. Then I need my embossing folder. Remember, the side that's closed will go through the machine first. And then I'll make my sandwich by adding 3. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and run that through. I would do this on camera, but it's hard for me to show you my cut and emboss machine. So I just ran it through. I'm going to take this off. And here we go. Isn't that pretty with the trees? Okay, let me move this out of the way. Thought I was through with stamping, but I would like to stamp. I'm going to put my layer of Whisper White inside. So I'm going to bring back little dragonflies and ink them up. Maybe they're butterflies, but I think we're going to stamp right on the corner. And while I have the ink out, I'm going to go ahead and add to our envelope. Let's place my silicone craft sheet. We don't want to do that. Okay, now we're going to add this to the inside of our card. And we will add, I think I'm going to use liquid glue. With the embossing, I think we don't have a Stampin' Seal. Plus, this will adhere better. And again, I find that if I open my card, I can do a better job of lining this up. I'm just going to kind of hold it here. I'll have the dimensions down below in the description below the video. And once I have it where the best I can, I will press that down. Then I'm going to bring in our sentiment and our stitch rectangle. And I'll go ahead and die cut this. All right, so we have our sentiment. I'm going to turn that over. Before I do that, I'm going to also bring in our dragonfly and turn him over, and our sentiment, and add some dimensionals. I'm going to put dimensionals in each corner. Of our sentiment, and then one in the middle so it doesn't sag. And then our dragonfly, we'll just put one right there in the middle and the back. Let me take the tops off. Okay, so I'm going to add our sentiment first. And I'm going to put that right down here in the lower corner. But we want it to be even. There we go. And again, before I add the dragonfly, I'm just going to kind of curl his wings up a little bit. So, and I'm going to kind of add him right here. And may good things grow all year long. And you have a place to write. You could also stamp another sentiment inside if you wanted to. But before we are completely finished, we need to bring in our flowers for every season. And you will, if you have a take your pick tool, this will work great. So I'm going to take the cap off my take your pick tool, I'm going to pull that end off. And you just twist, and more putty will come out at the top. And then I'm going to look for the green, and I'm going to place one right here. Oh, it might help though. These are not, they do not have adhesive on the back. So before I do that, let me pick that up again with my take your pick tool. We might want to add a little glue, right? Okay, so I'm just going to add just a can you tell I don't want to get too much? I could be using you just need a little bit. And once again, if you think you have too much glue, you can use a Q-tip, but we'll see if this will work right here. Okay, and we will get another smaller gem and put right here. And then I'm going to hunt for a larger and pick that up and set it down right there. Perfect. So now we have our finished card. And let me put the lid on this. I would not want to pick up all of those gems if I spilled those. And here is the card that I showed you that I made at the beginning. And I added an extra layer to the card I made today. I used early espresso, whisper white, Costa Cabana. And I think I like the extra layer on this card today. You can let me know what you think. So again, this is Dragonfly Garden. You place an order in the month of November with me as your demonstrator, and your order is less than $150, please use the host code. As I always send you a card that you can send to someone else and a small gift as my token appreciation for ordering from me. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.